Hello, this is John McEntee here from the Rock Fantasy Files. And before I start this interview, I wanted to bring up the fact that I have bad news that my friend Eric Wagner from the Skull and Trouble has passed away from COVID complications and, pneumonia. And, you know, it's a real bummer. He was a friend of mine. I got to know him when one of my longtime friends, Sharon Buskovsky, he was going out with him for a couple years, and I was, in the Pittsburgh area at that time, so I got to, get to know him quite well, and it just was, it just one of those things that a bunch of my friends have passed away from COVID. Just to name a few is like Brian Pattison, and also, Wes Weaver's passed away, all people that I've known directly. So, it's been a difficult time for me to have to, you know, see this happen to, people that I'm friends with and respect, and especially someone like Eric Wagner, who, his band Trouble especially has had a super huge impact on the metal world in general. Definitely a big impact on the death metal scene. A lot of bands probably wouldn't be doing stuff in death metal the same way if it wasn't for him. And, he's touched, people from all over, from hard rock to heavy metal to thrash to everything. So, it's just something that, I noticed is a really crappy little eulogy from me, but just something, to acknowledge, unfortunately, another friend that's passed away, which is just a terrible thing. So all I can say is just, maybe today, I know Eric liked to drink whiskey. So if you drink, have a shot of whiskey for Eric, and jam out to some, Trouble, and just, or the Skull, and just, remember the importance of his impact. And for all his friends out there, just, do the same, and just, be fortunate that you got to know him. So, okay, well, enough with that. I don't want to get too down on this, because it's actually, I have a great interview here that I'm looking forward to with Paul from Fossilization. He's the drummer, and it's a band that I really enjoyed hearing about. I just, what was it? I think it must have been about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I can't remember. I just kind of put it out there that I was looking for some stuff that I might have missed earlier on this year that got released, and this was one of them. And this one definitely struck me as something really interesting. I just liked it from the first moment I listened to it, and it's just nice to be able to hear, for myself, newer bands that really just pique my interest, I guess, because there's a lot of new bands out there that, I mean, they're great bands, but I've been doing this for a long time, so a lot of times it's nothing special, but it doesn't always have to be like massively original or massively anything in particular. It just has to have something special in the music that makes it, to me, just meaningful, something, say, a little different, or whatever. I don't know. Different's not really the right word. Personality is the right word. Music, all great music has to have personality. And Fossilization, it was just one of those bands that kind of hit me, as like, hell yeah, there's some great shit coming on. So anyway, Paul, I just like to thank you for being here. And I guess just give me a basic rundown of the band. Tell us something about it.
Sure, man. Hey, man. First of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. And this is a huge loss for metal, for sure. It's been such a terrible times we're living, but I don't know, man. I hope this pass by soon and we can enjoy some happier times, for sure.
Well, one good thing, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a habit of doing this, but my train of thought is sometimes if I let it go till later, I'll forget. But
Yeah.
I know from Eric loved music, and one thing for sure is that he would want people to just, take some of the, if they've been dealing with any kind of grief or these sad passings or something. And I would say the same thing for other people like Wes and Brian, that they would all want you to be able to use that and put it into your music and express it into something that hopefully is greater than, anything individually or whatnot.
Yes. Yeah, for sure, man. Tonight I will be drinking some scotch and listening to Trouble for sure.
Awesome.
And dude, I'm speechless. Thank you so much for your interest in fossilization. That's quite, we look up to so much for to incantation that it's kind of it's tough for me to say.
Well,
But
thank you. I
anyway,
appreciate it.
man. And so fossilization is we started fossilization actually maybe a year, in the start of 2020. Sorry, the pandemic has
Yeah.
changed everything for me. And we started at the beginning of last year, and we played together in Jupiterian here in Brazil. So I don't know if you heard of it's more doomy, and we know each other for maybe 10 years already, but we play together since 2019 with Jupiterian.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thiago, who is the main guitarist of the band and the vocalist, he wanted to do something more extreme, more death metal, but with doomy things and more old school in a way, but it has all these types of layers of sound, not just something brutal that I think there's a lot of that. And then we started to rehearse a little bit, but then the pandemic hit us, and then everything went in a time zone that we don't know yet. But then we started, actually, Thiago is really a prolific guy. So he started to compose songs, and he would send me, so I would hear it online, and we had discussions of the songs, and we spent almost 6 or 7 months trying to build the songs in a good way, or I don't know, in a way that it would feel right, because we never played those songs until the recording. So it was a different process, I've never done that. So
Yeah.
I think it's an odd way. It has good, I don't know, it has good ways and good points and bad points on that way of composing. But then I recorded the drums in August past year. And then up until December, we did guitars, vocals, and up until the end of that year, we just mastered with the mix and mastering was done by Otso from the Krypts band from Finland.
Okay.
And he's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And then he really helped us to achieve a sound that I think it's, in a way, it's really what, I don't know, it made us, the songs really achieve a level of production that it's really what I think it's one of the interesting things about the band. And then actually we thought about it, and as Jupiterian was on hold down, we had a mini tour in UK last year, but with the pandemic, everything was canceled. So we just thought, oh, let's do this with Fossilization and release it online and see what happens. And then just, I think, 2 or 3 days after we put it on Bandcamp, we got a contact from Transylvania Records I think he's from Oakland, California.
Yeah.
He's a friend of Thiago for many years now. And he really liked the material. And then we signed an agreement with him to release on tapes. I think it's on second pressing now, on cassette. And then we just got, I think on the same week in January, we got a contact from Everlasting Spew from Italy, and then they released on CD, and maybe I think next year there will be a vinyl release.
Cool.
And the reception has been quite awesome, man. People, I'm getting interviewed by the master, man. Come on. This is, but then the reception has been amazing, you know, from everywhere in the corners of the world. We released here in Brazil also via Nihil Productions, a CD format, and it's been great, man. It's already almost 8 to 9 months, and things get always we get always interviews, reviews from websites, and up now we just recorded 2 newer songs. We are releasing a split album, I think, up until the end of the year. I can't really say the band we are doing this together, but I think later this month or September, things will get on the web. But we just really doing 2 new songs, and it's a killer material. Again, the mixing and mastering was done by Otso, and I know it's kind of what musicians do, but I think it's our one of the best things we have done.
The generic line that everyone's supposed to say. Well, I understand though, but it's important to feel that way, because if you're gonna keep doing it, you should feel like you have something to contribute that's worthwhile. So it should definitely, it's reasonable to say that it's your best stuff to date. Well, I think the production is really good. I mean, it's good in a raw way, which is really I don't know. I think it's quite difficult to do, because sometimes when people try to make it sound too old school, it sounds fake. I mean, maybe from being from the old school, it just sounds, sometimes that stuff could easily sound just fake is the way, or contrived or something like that. But the way that it was produced, it sounds very natural. It sounds thick, heavy. It doesn't sound like a crystal clear. It doesn't have that crystal clear production. It has real rough production, which is great. I love it. I love that fullness of the overall sound. It's great that he did such a great job with the production, because it's difficult to make it sound that, I don't know, I call it like a fat sound or something like that, with still having it, quote unquote, well produced, because, some people, look at it like everything has to be crystal clear and clean to be well produced. And that's just not the case, in my opinion, so I was really happy with it. So I guess, and you worked with him in the past, or was this just a thing you decided he was right for this?
No. Oh, it's because Jupiterian we're really close friends with Krypts. I was not in the band, but they did a European tour with Krypts, I think 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And then we just maintained that relation, and I think it was a good choice. And I think that I will do like 1,000 compliments to you and Incantation, but this one is, I think it's one thing that we really looked for in the band, that like Incantation has done a million times so well. It's the song the album needs to have like a concept with a sound, layers of sound, and not just brutal stuff or polished things. And I think not only the songs, but the production helped a lot on that. It creates like an aura or something for the people that listen to this to really feel what the song is about, and then it really wants to know what's coming next, And I think that the sound and everything represents that. The cover art, the record name, and the sound. It's fat. I know fat. I'm trying to find the better words, but it's like monstrous things, like really you're in a cave and you're angry and
Yeah.
you're afraid and all the sounds. It's really tough to recreate that. And I think we're so proud of the sound of the record that I think, and it's one of the things that people always talk about. It's how people listen to that, and it creates a feeling on them that's really scary things, and that's really what I think we wanted to do.
Well, that's great. Yeah, that was kind of my feeling on when I listened to it. It drew me into it. It felt like going on a journey. A lot of times with death metal bands, I think, especially like the more brutaler stuff, they want to be so brutal that they forget about the feeling and the atmosphere and stuff. And for definitely for select bands of our era, like I guess say Incan or maybe Immolation or no, those are just the two I could think of offhand. It's more about the atmosphere. I mean, the aggression, the brutality is important, but it's only part of the arsenal.
Yeah.
It's like there's a deeper meaning behind it. And I know for myself, that kind of really came from a lot of the older bands that we listened to at that time, like Possessed and stuff like that, that the music was just really dark. And even if the production wasn't great, you still felt that there was like something more that was important in the music, and that was the kind of vibe I got when listening to you guys. I just felt like there was something deeper, like you guys put in your personality in the music, or trying to express something in the music, which I think, like I think I'm repeating it from before, but which is so important for bands. Like I said, a lot of time people just forget about that. It should be like a very primal, a very sincere thing when it's done, and
Yes.
so that's kind of vibe I got from it. I know, it's when I listen to the album, I don't really listen to it even as like songs. I just listen to it as, the event of the full release. It all kind of just blends together in a positive way, where you just kind of get lost into it, like I don't know how you'd listen to even maybe like a Pink Floyd album or something, where you just kind of listen to it and you're just zoning out and you just feel a vibe, and that's very important for me, for stuff that I really like. I want to just get lost in the music, or maybe just even listen to it and like go off somewhere, but go off because you're vibing off the music or whatever, I don't know. I'm just a big vibe kind of dude. I mean, yeah, it's been a thing of mine since especially when I started Incantation. It was always about the feeling of the riffs, and I feel that when I hear the riffs and the drum playing and everything, and even the vocals, it's like the feeling is what's important. Like I don't care about what notes or what the progression, all that stuff is not important. It's like I listen to it and I feel the vibe. I don't know. I know it's like I'm repeating myself, but it's difficult to explain.
Yeah, we're on the same page on the book you guys created. I mean, and I gotta say, man, Thiago is a hell of a writer. He's such a great composer, even though with Jupiterian and Fossilization now, he's a great mastermind. He knows what a song needs. Many times we would do like, I don't know, he sends me a song, and maybe on the studio, we change drums on studio, we try different things there. And then I record the drums, and 2 weeks later, he changes the guitars because he can't sleep. He can't sleep because he's thinking on that guitar part, he can do better, he can do another thing. And
good.
100% of the times he's right, man. Things change drastically. And I can say for myself, he's one of the guys that I've been really proud to play with, because we are on the same page. Also, we got to do good songs, not brutal songs or fast songs or technical songs. We need to go back and write. I don't know. I'm not I don't want to be pretentious, but it's like, we got to do meaningful songs, you know, construct a record.
Well, that's the way I look at music myself. So I totally understand what you're saying. There has to be a reason to do it. And if it's not meaningful to you, how could you expect it to be meaningful to other people? You know,
Yeah.
it's any, you know, you can go and easily just write a, you know, a death metal song and probably even do quite well with it. But it's just like, you know, for me, and it seems like with you guys too, it's like there's a passion, a reason to do it in a certain way. It's not just, it's not about trying to be the, you know, most popular band on the block. It just, you know, if anything, just be the most meaningful, you know, and expressing yourself. And it sounds like he really, you know, puts a lot of heart into it, you know. I understand those kind of things being a guitar player myself, you know. It's like, you know, we sometimes will have something recorded and I listen back to it, it's like, man, just fuck, just not right, you know. And I won't be able to fucking sleep at night until I like get to my guitar and like do something, you know. And then it just, you know, something, you know, you just know when it's right. It's not like you know, it's almost more of like a personal thing where you just have, you know, if it's going to be done, it has to be done the proper way.
Yeah.
People might not understand it. People might not even notice the stuff that you're going to fix ever. But I know for myself, and you know, I would notice, you know. So,
Yeah.
and that's what's important, you know. It's like I need to know that it's done in the right way, the proper way. If people get it or don't get it, that's, you know, that's not important. That seems like that's a similar you know, way that you guys look at it, which is really interesting, you know. And it's kind of cool. I mean, I know that I'm an earlier generation of death metal and you guys, but it's nice to see newer bands keeping that um you know, passion for it, not just passion for the music, but for the passion for creating stuff that is personal and meaningful musically, you know, which is, it's a big, it's, you know, so much music out there these days, so many bands and a lot of really great and talented bands, but there's only far and few bands that are really, um, to me, really mean a lot, you know?
Yeah. I think like we we kind of try to get some inspiration from, as you say, like more older bands or more bands that didn't quite have like the technique, I think, but or the production at the time, but the rawness or the, I don't know, the rebellious feeling that you got to do a song with what you have, with your skills. And I think we are not like exceptional musicians, but I think that we have to perceive on that and try to do better with the songs, and that will come eventually. People will realize that songs are really good, and I think we don't focus on that anymore. I think on my teenagers, I would try to be the fastest drummer in the world, but uh, I noticed that it won't be me. So there's a lot of guys that can do that. So
Well, there's difference too in what I mean. You could say you maybe not the best musicians. Well, it's not necessarily fair to say, because who's to say that just because you know a million scales and you could, I
yeah,
don't know, sweep or play at the fastest BPM or be the tightest drummer, does that
yeah,
make you the best drummer? Really? No,
no,
I don't think so.
no,
I think what makes you the best drummer or guitar player or whatever it is to be able to express yourself the way you want to on your instrument,
yeah,
especially to do it for the song. You know, make the, you know, the song should be the most important thing. So I don't, you know, I don't buy the fact that you have to be, you know, the best musician. I mean, it's great if you are a great musician. Obviously, it helps. You know, it
sure.
helps to have the tools, and it could make you more limited. I mean, unlimited, but at the same time, sometimes it could even limit the music too if you're too talented, too worried about, say, the rules of whatever instrument you're doing. You sometimes won't break free and like actually just do it yourself. I One of the things that I've noticed in the death metal scene early on is that when we were, like say, Incantation was starting, there were no rules to death metal. It was just free for all. Like, but then at a certain point, there became rules of it, and like all of a sudden, you're supposed to play super tight. You're supposed to play with click tracks and all this crap or whatever, and I never bought into it. I'm just like, no, it's not that. I mean, I grew up in a time when it's not about the technicality aspect of it. So I think it's really nice to see that hopefully more bands are going to just say, okay, it's great. I mean, no one's going to argue talent as far as being able to play your instrument proficiently, but it's way more important to not follow the rules. And sometimes knowing the rules screws you up almost a little bit, because then like I know for myself, I didn't even know. I never paid attention to if the drums and the guitars even matched up on stuff, like on early versions of my former band Revenant or Incantation. And I think that's in a way it was a good thing, because when we wrote those songs, just wrote those songs that put drums over that sound cool, and nobody really thought about like, okay, this is the way it's supposed, like this is like the rules of death metal. I think that's so. Getting back to you guys, which I don't want to make this all about me, but it's just that I see when what you're saying is a very important point that I think say newer bands out there can benefit from, is just to be more sincere to yourself writing music, make it more personal, and yeah, all the stuff I said. Don't let talent get in the way of a good song.
Yeah. Sure, man. I couldn't agree with you more, man. And coming from you guys, Incantation is once again, man, it's such you guys, Immolation, and a lot of older bands inspires us so much. And I think that subconsciously, when we are writing a song, maybe that time when we heard that song as teenagers and say, man, I think we didn't thought about at the time, this is so technical, or it's just a good song. It's just a good death metal song. And then when you grow up and you try to, I don't know, play better or try to study more, you think that that's the way.
Yeah.
And then you spend so much time trying to find that, and you realize that's not the way. I think it's a cool journey. And it has to be. But and I think with fossilization that we kind of found the right balance, because I try to play a little bit of guitar also, and I think I'm more focused on guitars now, especially when we are recording. I record the drums, but for me the guitars have to be like most of the center of the song, and that coming from a drummer, because I really think that the song has to be really tight. I'm not the kind of drummer that wants my drums elevated or the maximum volume.
Yeah, you're
I
not a
don't think that
selfish
way.
player, you're saying.
No, not at all. I think the guitars must be the core of the song. The drums has to be there to give the right feeling to the song, and you go layer by layer. And
Yeah.
I think that's the right way. I think that's the way we have to do things now, for sure, man.
So is the band just two-piece band, or are you planning on having it be a full band? I'm not really sure what the situation is with that.
Yeah. We have more musicians now. We try to do a little bit of rehearsing this year, but with the comings and goings of restrictions, we kind of stopped there, and we had to record these songs now, so we focused on that. And then, but we have a full band now. We will be ready to tour as soon as possible, for sure. We we are looking forward to that, of course. And I think we will start to record a new album by the end of the year, maybe the first semester of the next year. But we have a band now. We have two more. I think, yeah, it's me, Thiago, and two people more, and we got some cool friends from other bands playing with us. So maybe next year we'll do some concerts in Brazil or abroad. We don't know for sure, but
Yeah. And what's it? So this is going to be like a serious band then.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think we can do both bands normally, and it's different because Fossilization is more death metal and Jupiterian is more doom death. So it will not be a conflict for sure. And I
Yeah.
think that I don't know, I come from a more an extreme background, so and it's been a lot of years that I don't play that style, so it's been like coming back to style for me. So it will be more fun for sure.
That's awesome. That's a good thing for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm not sure. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting about that we should bring up before we conclude this?
Let me see. I think that I don't know if people, I don't know if you can let all the informations of the video, but the links for the websites of the labels or for people that are
Yeah.
interested or our Bandcamp. But
Yeah, we can include that stuff. I mean, you
yeah,
could let us know what it is if you want, but I'll definitely include it
sure.
in the.
Yeah, it's the Everlasting Spew records on Italy and Transylvania Records on the United States. You can access our Bandcamp also. It's Fossilization. And I just gotta say, man, I gotta say too, I remember in 2006 when I saw Incantation playing here in Campinas. It's nearby where I live. Because you guys were playing with Dark Funeral. It was a
Yeah.
blast, man.
Wow.
It's been a
Yeah.
while. And we saw you guys 2 or 3 years ago in Black September here in São Paulo.
Oh, okay.
It
Awesome.
was, I think it was like, we saw you guys, and I think the next day that congregation, and
Yeah.
I think that was like a little spark for us, like, dude, we gotta do something with our lives. I mean, and I just gotta say, man, I can't be thankful enough for the space you're giving us. We're really happy, and I can't thank you enough again, and thank you very much for the space. I hope people enjoy the record and the new split we're doing. And what's up? I gotta ask you, what's the plan with Incantation, man? Are you guys rehearsing? Do you
Yeah, we've
have
been
any
working
tours?
on a bunch of stuff. I mean, we basically, ever since like we finished recording the Sect of Vile Divinities album, we've been working on new material, and then the pandemic hit and it just gave us even more time to kind of work on stuff. We all live far away, and with the restrictions it's been a little wacky, but we've still been getting a lot of stuff done. I mean, we probably have just since the Sect of Vile Divinity album came out, maybe yeah, 18 songs or something like that. So we have a lot of material that we have to sort through. We have a lot of it recorded already, but it's things are wacky. With the pandemic, we weren't able to tour for the last album, so we want to tour for the Sect of Vile Divinity album before we put out another album. But now we're like backed up with songs, and then we're gonna have more songs later. So who knows how it's gonna work out, you know? But I just, when you get super inspired to write, we just write. We don't necessarily like say like we have to do an album we're gonna write. We want to write. Just one day I'm just like get an idea and like let's do this.
Uh-huh. But do you guys have any tour dates this year? You're
We
not
had
playing.
some stuff that got postponed till
Okay.
2022. Yeah, we really didn't have anything booked in the U.S. Too. We're maybe doing something in February we're looking at, but we have no one-offs or nothing like that. It just wasn't feasible for us. We all live far apart from each other, so to organize everything in the pandemic is just it's not worth it. as far as it's just too risky. If something happens and either someone gets sick or something like that, then, you know, it screws up everything. Plus, we don't want anybody in our camp, you know, getting sick or anything, you know.
Yeah,
We've already
sure.
had some members of our touring lineup that had got COVID. They got over it okay, but still, yeah, you know, you want to play it safe, you know, because these are, you know, our friends and band members, so we don't want to take any risks that are,
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
especially when you hear of people that we know firsthand that have had severe issues. I mean, a lot of people I know have had it, but you know, it's terrible when you hear about people you know that actually pass away from it and stuff, you know.
Yes, yes.
But okay, well, I don't know, thank you very much for being on the Rock Fantasy Files. And you know, just my normal thing, just support, you know, underground bands, support real record stores, buy stuff from the bands directly, you know, if you can, or buy it from the label or, you know, local record store. Try not to just buy stuff from the Amazons and big box stores if possible. Try to support, you know, the local musicians, and of course, you know, look out and keep your ear open for new bands out there like Fossilization. That's just you know, kicking ass, and it's an honor for me to know that bands are out there these days that I could still really, you know, really enjoy. Could really say a band that I could really enjoy listening to and being able to, you know, showcase it for some people out there that might not have known the band. So hopefully, you know, if you're into some real dark, evil as fuck, dramatic death, doom, whatever, sludgy death, doom, atmospheric, something
Slimy.
slimy,
Slimy
grimy,
is the word.
yeah, death metal, then you know, definitely check out Fossilization. It's like I said, something I've been really enjoying. And again, just, you know, support the underground, and everyone stay safe out there. And again, you know, rest in peace, Eric Wagner. And thank you, Paulo, for doing this. And we look forward to seeing you guys somewhere on the road. Maybe next time we play out in Brazil or something, you hop on a show. It'd be awesome to see you guys
Oh yeah,
live. And or
sure.
maybe, who knows, maybe we'll jam with you somewhere else in the world.
I hope so, man.
But so
I hope so.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.